Has everybody given their thanks to Nolan? Everybody, before you eat, make sure to honor Christopher Nolan and the bread that's on your table, the wine you'll be drinking, the air you breathe is all thanks to Christopher Nolan. Our Nolan who art in Hollywood, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in 70 millimeter as it is in IMAX. Forgive those who trespass against you, for they know not what they do. As a matter of fact, damn them all to hell, because they don't know how actually good you are as a filmmaker. And if they ever go up against you, you're just a chud, a simpleton, and you're not a cinephile who understands cinema.
Nerderotic.com.
To go against Nolan is to go against God. It is so fucking hysterical on X right now. It is the fucking best. It is great. I just talked to breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, because I know everybody's been wondering. A Critical Drinker is gonna see the Odyssey very soon. Just had a little chit chat with them. Yes, the Nolan's prayer. I made that up, pulled it right out of my ass. So I could have probably done better. But good God. My favorite part on X, and this person is a reply person in my and it's funny as fuck, is I have some OnlyFans chick going, we're just normal people. Normal people love the Odyssey. Yeah, okay. I mean, you do you. I'm not going to shame OnlyFans. Like, if that's how you're going to use your assets, use them. Make money. I love capitalism. Go right ahead. You might have explaining to do if you have any children, but deal with that when it happens. You go, girl. I'm about female empowerment. Just remember, the wall is undefeated. So do it now. Yeah, it's been funny. It's been funny. Hey, the movie's doing well. It's gonna have a great open. Let me check. I said on Real BBC, I expect they were saying 200 million worldwide. I think it's going to be more than that. And it might be shooting for more than that. Let me take a look. Let's see. Odyssey weekend. I imagine it's going to be very good. So it is. I love how this estimate's going to be short, by the way. So they're estimating the weekend. I love how they do this on Saturday at 8, right? So they're estimating at 120 million domestic, which is good, but like way over 230. So we're looking at 260. That's a fucking bonkers opening weekend. I thought this would do really well internationally. 120 is great for Nolan. And I think it's going to be higher than this, but that's 4.5 million below James Gunn's Superman opening. But it's good for Nolan. So they're like, it's a record for Nolan and a rated R movie that's 3 hours. So yeah, I think this thing's going to make a lot of money. It's not going to change my opinion on it at all. I hope to never see it again. But if you have sinned against Nolan, like I told Alan Ing today, I want you to watch Interstellar and give me 3. Where's the trigger? Okay. But yeah, I think that estimate is low. So my guess is domestically it comes in at 130. I think it's going to be way over 120. Way over 120. And 260, that is really good. That's where Spider-Man. Here, let's see where Spider-Man Brand New Day. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Yep. That's above Spider-Man's estimate. So Spider-Man's estimate is at 250 million worldwide. Right? Worldwide? Yes, worldwide. I think that's going to go a little higher too. But Odyssey being even close to that's fucking impressive. It's impressive that people really want to see the 3-hour slog. Disbrew outed it perfectly as what it is. Bad propaganda. Yeah, I mean, yes. Like the movie all you want. Like it for whatever reasons you want. I don't care. I'm not going to spurg out at somebody liking something I don't like or vice versa. That's for the angry Joes of the world. So, but to deny that there's a through line of the message is ludicrous, utterly ludicrous. It is a subversive work. It is a work that subverts the character of Odysseus. There is no way around that. It is very specific in the film. Platoon really fucking put it best on EFAP today. He called it boomer slop. Best way to describe it is he said this could easily be a Vietnam War movie. And there is a Vietnam War movie that's partially based on the Odyssey that's 100,000 times better. I can't think of a number of how much times better Apocalypse Now is than the Odyssey. But he called it boomer slop. And he brought in like there's draft dodgers. Guy goes to war and finds out that the war he thought he was fighting was just a lie and everything was a lie and it's the fall of civilization. And yeah, and I just thought that was a fantastic description and breakdown because Platoon's like smart. Okay. Platoon is smarter than pretty much most of us. Let's be real. So that was perfect. Very boomer coded, as they like to say. But the bottom line is like, it's not as bad as Supergirl. And, you know, I say all this in the video, like it's a mid movie. These are really difficult to review when they're just like, huh? So the fact that there's this much discourse and the discourse stems from the marketing that the studio chose to do. And quite frankly, the trailers tell you exactly what movie you're going to get. So anybody saying, well, they baited you with Lapita and Sinan, well, maybe with the time they're on the screen, but not with what they represent. You see, it's one thing to put Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy. It's another thing to put her in as Helen of Troy, who was abused, and you find out that her name was just used as an excuse to go to war over resources, removing all the fantastic elements from the story. I mean, that's Nolan. That's Nolan. Nolan has an Achilles heel. Nolan lacks imagination and a sense of wonder. He's technically brilliant. He's prog rock, like the worst kinds of prog rock. That's what he is. He's technically brilliant in most things, except for sound. But yeah, I got a half-hour video coming out tomorrow, and I'll say all that there, and I'm sure we'll talk about it through the week, and people will be celebrating Nolan's win like it's their own. Which is funny. Which is absolutely funny. And my favorite part will be the rags will be out like Hollywood's back, baby. It's like, was it back when Oppenheimer came out? Oppenheimer did very well. Oppenheimer was equally as well received. It will probably make around the same amount of money. Maybe Odyssey makes more. Won a lot of Academy Awards. It was there with Barbie, which also made $1 billion. Did that fix Hollywood? I don't think so. So unless you are able to clone Nolan, call it a cloning, and like 20 times, and have him come out with a movie like 5 times a year, he ain't fixing anything. Look, after Odyssey and Spider-Man, there ain't nothing till Christmas. That's a lot of months. Yeah. When I say prog rock, I meant the worst kinds of prog rock. All right. Because you can say Rush, right? Rush is an exception, but out of all the prog rock bands, I would say they're the most fun. But you know what? The term fun doesn't really get applied to prog rock. You're there to listen to fucking 17-minute songs that mostly people get stoned to, right? Which I am down with, okay? But most, if not all, prog rock is very serious, technical music, and it lacks soul at times. It lacks levity. It lacks swagger. Yeah, Nolan, I mean, can be like a Chad in the sense of a Chad, but he doesn't have, he's like the proper English gentleman, but this dude ain't having fun. Werewolf is in December, yes. So is Doomsday, which I don't think it'll be good. So is Dune Part 3, and then the Harry Potter show, and then Rings of Power, which will suck. But there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. Now, for TV, we're good. September, we got Mobland and Gentlemen. I'm going to be doing live reviews on the main channel for Mobland to make up for House of the Dragon, which is just shit right now. It's just shit. But then there's Landman season 3, Tulsa King, I think, season 4. So TV-wise, we're fucking golden. We're good. We are good. Thanks mostly to Taylor Sheridan and Guy Ritchie. Oh, and Godzilla -1. Forgive me. Godzilla -0. Godzilla -0 in November. Fuck yeah. Bring it on. I'm excited for that. But yeah, that's nothing. So it's Odyssey, and this is going to help the Odyssey, believe me. It's Odyssey and Spider-Man and fucking nothing that could even come close to the level of a Nolan film or a Spider-Man film till December. What if the Odyssey makes more than Doomsday? It could. Oh yeah, Street Fighter. But Street Fighter's not like, if we're lucky, Street Fighter will do better than Mortal Kombat was. I get them mixed up. They're all fucking same thing to me. Okay, they're like arcade games I played. Here's Odin says still needs to drive normies to sit through the long term. We'll have a better gauge next week. Yeah, I part of it is, and we discussed it, is the 70 millimeter and the IMAX screens are going to be sold out for a long time now. It's what the other theaters do is going to help, but 260 opening, dude. Like that's. Nolan puts a spell on people, just like Cameron. And listen, I have more respect. I don't know. Jimmy Cameron's made some good movies, but Jimmy Cameron, people are going to get mad at this, can be a little bit of a hack because he steals. Had to thank Harlan Ellison at the end of Terminator. But I respect Nolan more than I respect Cameron, but it's getting close. I'm getting to the point where Nolan movies are going to feel like Avatar movies to me. We'll see. But because Avatar movies are shit. They're absolute shit. They're anti-humanist. I think it's misanthropist. The anti-human one. So not misogynist or God, I can't remember the term for it, but just he hates humans. He hates the human race. And he's very feminist. Pregnant women. Is 260 opening a record for Nolan? It is, like, by far, like not even close. I think Oppenheimer. Well, I don't know. Like, Odin's in the chat. Is that bigger than Dark Knight Rises without adjusting for inflation? Early Cameron movies are better than Nolan movies. Yes. Outside of Batman, Nolan does not have a Terminator or a Terminator 2. No. Or an Aliens. And Cameron knows how to have fun. Okay. But you have to use inflation. Okay. Use inflation. Then I don't think this is bigger than Dark Knight Rises if you use inflation. I think Dark Knight Rises is still his biggest opening. Hey, Hollywood needs this shot in the arm. Imagine if the Odyssey didn't come out. Holy fuck. They've had a bunch of flops. This will pick up the year because the year's been down. Down further than they expected, much more. I hope everybody's having a good evening. All right. I'm having a fucking great evening because this discourse to me is fun. I'm having so much fun with this. I live for days like this. I live for weekends like this. Whew. And thank you for third or fourth highest viewed FNT last night. Appreciate you guys. We almost hit 21,000 live viewers, and that's not counting Rumble. Who knows what the Rumble numbers are? To be real, I don't fucking know. But and I'm not going to pretend to know. Yes, Ben Shapiro liked the Odyssey. I wouldn't like be happy about that as like I wouldn't be like sharing Ben's review as like this is a win. He liked The Rise of Skywalker, and I made sure to point that out today. I'll say the same thing to him that I said to Jack Posobiec. I'd say stick to the political takes, but those suck too. I am too busy enjoying all the diverse opinions on the Odyssey because there is, and that's what's awesome about it. Like it is everywhere. But there are people, there are Jeremys out there acting like he's in the minority. And I'm like, well, it might feel like that, but you're actually not. You're like, my opinion's in the minority. Mahler's is, and the opinion is like definitively in a sentence, it's not the worst thing ever made, and it's not good. It is right in the middle. It is a room temperature glass of water in a beige room, and it is not worth this much discourse. But here we are. Here we are. That's looking at it as just a movie while you're completely ignoring the adaptation. As an adaptation, it's a 0 out of 10. It's a fucking 0 out of 10. There, even with a couple of scenes I like. There's a couple of scenes I genuinely like in it, but they get undercut almost right away with some bullshit. Like you go to the there's an old movie called Ulysses. Go watch that. It's more fun. It's more colorful. But it's stark, it's soulless, it lacks imagination. It's about as fun as a trip to the dentist. Nolan has a wheelhouse, and this ain't it. Like, Nolan, do your weird crime, time-traveling crime dramas. Like, those are fucking awesome, and I'll watch those all day long. But I love Memento. I don't like Insomnia. A lot of people do, though, and that's fine. Love Inception. Love The Prestige. Love Batman Begins. Love The Dark Knight. Dunkirk's fine. Not going to run back and see it again anytime soon, but it's fine. Interesting take. I've seen Memento a lot. I was like, and when that came out, everybody's like, this is the dude. This is the future. And he was for a while, but now he's just he's way out of his fucking wheelhouse on this one. So we will see. I mean, it's just going to make money, but I think Garrett had what was Garrett's tweet? I'll read it. This is the Twitter discourse. So this isn't the normal people going to the theater or anybody in the chat here. This is just fucking stupid Twitter. Which, hot take, isn't the real world. I have been told recently it isn't the real world, despite us saying Twitter wasn't the real world 8 years ago. But apparently this is a new take. So Cord Black says, make specific points based on the filmmaking for why a Nolan movie isn't good, or why Garrett doesn't think it's good, right? To be fair. The only response, right-wing chud, yeah, well, everyone likes it. Or nah. But I want to like, the right-wing chud thing isn't even fucking true, because there is a lot of right-wing chuds that like this movie. You know, chud all fucking day. Right-wing, you know, that's a little too much structure for me, bro. Okay. But chud, fucking go ahead. But well, everyone likes it. That's, everybody loves a winner. Everybody loves a winner. You see that a lot in sports. And listen, what player did it work on me? Michael Jordan. The only time Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan were the only things where I paid attention to the NBA at all. Never gave a fuck before or after they left. We're there, right? But Michael Jordan, everybody watched Michael play. He was fucking great. It's brilliant. But I would never call myself a Bulls fan, right? You see a lot of front runners in sports. They got the tags on their hats and they flip it around based on who's winning or who's the best at something. And then you have people like me who might be complete dipshits who are just diehard for our local team no matter how much they fucking suck. I think Garrett had a very good point. Yeah, well, everyone likes it. But which way, Western man, did the chud destroy Supergirl but then get defeated by the Odyssey, or did Supergirl just really fucking suck? Supergirl just really fucking sucked. The Odyssey, different beast. I love people are trying to own Alan Ng for liking a Yui Boll movie and not liking a Nolan movie, while like you're putting them on the same playing field. Like that's the lack of nuance that you see. I bet you Alan Ng. I don't want to pretend to know how he reviews films, but I would imagine, like yours truly, I hold Nolan to a higher standard because Nolan has told me I should hold him to a higher standard. He is an auteur. He is a very pretentious auteur. I need to hold him to a higher standard. So when he does basic bitch work, I'm going to call it out. Maybe harder than an average director doing basic bitch work. For example, a movie that bombed, that absolutely bombed at the box office, that everybody clowned. I clowned the trailers until I saw it. A movie called Better Man, where a guy, it's a biopic about a pop singer I've never fucking heard of, or I don't know, as a monkey. That is a better movie than The Odyssey. Deeper meaning, and everybody fucking hates it. It's got a great message of recovery and overcoming, and you don't really need to know about the pop star. Better Man's the shit. It is really good. And that shocked me. What I mean better is I will watch Better Man again. I will never watch The Odyssey again. Now, again, to go out there and say like The Odyssey is bad as something like Supergirl is fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But it's also ridiculous. It's equally ridiculous to call it a 10 out of 10. In my opinion, you may feel differently, and that's okay. I don't have an incessive need, and I doubt most of you either, for everybody to agree with my opinion on the film I like or don't like. I'll argue points, but ultimately, like Mahler will set out to change your mind on a film and succeed. That's how good he is. But I don't. I'm like, like what you like. You know what I was watching in the background today? While I was packing up, fucking Batman versus Superman, the extended edition, baby. Pure cinema. I think The Odyssey gonna flop. The normies at work all said it was boring as fuck. It is boring. So I will say, and it could. Jeremy said 1.5 billion. Did he not, Odin? Jeremy said 1.5 billion, and then I think he went down to 1.2 billion. And if it hits 1.5 billion and 1.2 billion, I will be shocked. Now, that doesn't mean I will be shocked that it hits it. I will be more shocked that many people wanted to watch this multiple times. Why? What was Odin? Are you still there? What was the box office of Avatar, the last Avatar? Because I know it's way down from the second one. It was still like 1.2 billion, right? Maybe the rest of the chat knows 1.2 billion. How? I don't know an answer for this. It's mind-boggling. Sometimes I have my finger on the pulse of pop culture, and then there's just things that I don't understand. Just barely over 1 billion. So that's woo. So it wasn't even 1.2 billion. It was like barely over 1 billion. And that's maybe why he said, we're not going to make any more movies for a while. But I still don't like, it's watching an aquarium. It's watching an anti-human feminist aquarium for 3 hours. Only $1 billion. Well, okay, only $1 billion. I'm guessing that last Avatar movie barely turned a profit. Barely. Those things are way more expensive than you think. Funny bit, I'll say it. Like somebody on X, some rando on X, and it's fine. You at me all you want. I don't block anybody. But somebody said, "Are you ready to take your L?" Did you watch FNT last night? Have you seen the performance on Daily? if this is me taking an L, load me up with some L's, please. I refuse to take an L. I know. Is winning spelled with an L? That was funny. Please integrate Metatron more. Okay. I mean, if he wants to. Was it as bad as you expect? So he's asking Metatron, but I'll answer the question. Metatron did answer the question, and he basically said yes, but he did, and like same for me too. You have to separate, like, okay, there is biases. Everybody has them. Anybody pretends they don't. That's ridiculous. We're humans. We have bias. So if I take away, all right, I'm going to take away the subversive casting and knowing that there was subversive messaging that was meant to be provocative, and just look at it as a film. So forget the adaptation, forget the politics of it and all that shit, and just what is it as a film? As if this was just a story that Nolan wrote himself. Boring. Unremarkable. Joyless. And that's what his answer was, right? So 5 out of 10. As an adaptation, it's a 0 out of 10. And then it's impossible for me, which I mentioned in the video, to ignore all the other shit. I can't, because it's there right in my face. And it's not like, I haven't covered this stuff extensively now for 8 years. And I know it when I see it. I at this point, I do. Everybody does. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Elliot Page's Sinan was an important character to the story. Lupita, again, I have more of a problem with how they presented Helen than Lupita being Helen, because Lupita being Helen in the context of Christopher Nolan's subversive, boring Odyssey, whatever. But because it's not the Odyssey. This is not the Odyssey. This is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And again, sorry to spoil my video, but I invoke Emily Wilson's name quite a bit, but the buck stops at Nolan. We can bring her name up all day long, and she probably served as a template, but what you saw on the screen were Nolan's beliefs. The Odyssey is good, but the critics have gone way over the top. It's mid-tier Nolan. Prestige and The Dark Knight are better. It's also way too long. Cut out Theron and Zendaya, and it flows much better. The diverse casting is disorientating. I think that's a reasonable review. And the critics are overpraising it for multiple reasons. Well, they overpraise Nolan to begin with, but then you compound owning the chuds, which is a huge motivation. And again, that is all in your fucking head. That is all in your head. You're looking at people on Twitter who, a lot of them are normies living their lives, and they don't necessarily see Nolan any different than other directors. And I know Disbrew says he doesn't, and that's fair, but you have to make exceptions for Nolan. You just do. He's the big dog in Hollywood, and shit that he can do whatever he wants. That's why I think he did this. I can't say I know, but that's why I almost know he did the casting that he did, to reinforce Hollywood's beliefs and ideals that he completely agrees with. But as far as it being a masterpiece, it is not. It is not. There's a lot of try-hard stuff going on. Josh Kelsey, thank you for the $19.99. I appreciate it. My expectation when I went in was the casting's going to bug the shit out of me, but this probably could be pretty decent otherwise. That was my expectation going in. I'll at least somewhat enjoy the experience and be engaged. And I didn't expect to not enjoy it at all. Liking moments isn't enjoying a movie. There's good moments in a lot of bad movies. But it's a joyless film, and I understand that that's what Christopher Nolan set out to make, and mission accomplished. Just an aspect for $9.99. Folks thirsty for some kind of movie, they're so thirsty for it, they'll crawl through a desert toward a mirage. And when they discover there's no water, they'll drink the sand. People don't drink the sand because they're thirsty. They drink the sand because they don't know the difference. Woo, that's very wise. Super chat. People have different tastes, and they might go against what we see sane and reasonable. That happens once in a while. This has become a cultural event due to the trailer getting ratioed and stuff, but it was going to be a cultural event anyway. I mean, it's a Nolan film, so this is and he's coming off his biggest non-Batman success and winning a bunch of Academy Awards, and there ain't been shit out outside of 2 independent films that are absolutely killing it. But as far as blockbusters are concerned, it's been kind of meh. We had Project Hail Mary earlier this year, a vastly superior film to the Odyssey. Like, they're not even in the same league. I think, Nolan just has a huge fan base, and people love a winner. They do. Well done on you on Piers Morgan. I hate the argument that fantasy fiction means that anything can be done. The Odyssey is a myth which has cultural religious importance. Changes can harm the story. Yeah, it's the argument of, well, you can accept dragons and wizards, but you can't accept a BMW with leather seats and optional heating. Like, it's a great meme. Mueller reminded us all of it a few months ago, and it's just as applicable here. And Metatron said, and I'll say it in my video, that while this is essentially fantasy and mythology, it is based on real events in real places with real history. This was analogous to some of the things. There was a city of Troy, and there were battles in the city of Troy. The city of Troy was sacked. It was actually sacked. Remember, Troy was just a myth for the longest time until they found it in, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, the 1800s. That's not the name of the town, but they did find a town in Jordan that was, they believe, completely wiped out by an airburst of a meteor. We interviewed the archaeologist who on Forbidden Frontier who was going through it, and it's insane, like how quickly they died and how they figured it out. So lots of acts of God in that time period were the Bible, and yes, this is based on an actual history in a specific time in a specific region. So to pull this, it's fantasy and doesn't matter, is utter bullshit when it's important for fucking a made-up Disney story like Moana or a made-up place like Wakanda. Like, these motherfuckers in Hollywood place more respect on Wakanda than the region in the Odyssey. 5 out of 10. That's my score, 5 out of 10. And the only reason it's getting that high of a score is what respect I have left for Nolan. I can't say as a filmmaker, as a director, and well, he's got another cinematographer for the cinematography, because a filmmaker knows that one of the most important things with making a film is sound, and sound isn't a vibe. Nolan. Greetings from Germany. You're giving Nolan too much credit. Europe doesn't care about the director. Every movie is a different project here. Nobody goes, the next Nolan movie is out, let's go watch it. Well, maybe not in Germany. Okay. I mean, like, let's be real. All the respect. You're fucking German, Noob Attack. Yeah, I think Nolan is adored in the UK, and he's adored here. But I think this movie will do great internationally. But again, like, when I hear I thought it was 7 out of 10, like, that's completely reasonable, and I respect your opinion. When I hear 10 out of 10, you're crazy. I mean, you're just fucking crazy. Okay, Oppenheimer. I gave Oppenheimer, I think, a 6 out of 10. But I didn't hate Oppenheimer. I watched it. I was engaged. understood what was going on, thought the pacing was pretty good, thought the music was pretty good. Started noticing a little message with Nolan then I got some clap back when I said, man, he's really sympathetic to those communists. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Remember that? Remember when I brought that? Some people were trying to call the movie based. Some people were trying to call the movie based. I'm like, it's a good movie. It's a biopic. I think it's worthy of its Academy Awards. I thought Robert Downey Jr. was fucking excellent. And I thought Cillian Murphy was excellent. I mean, you're right, chat. It's no Megamind. It's no Megamind. But I just kept on seeing this loop of they're really kind of sympathetic to the commies in this one. But in no way would I say it's bad. Like Oppenheimer is leaps and bounds better than the Odyssey. They're not even in the same universe. The Oppenheimer is a well-directed movie. I could hear what was going on in Oppenheimer. But it's a well-edited, well-directed, very well-acted, like extremely well-acted. And it's filled with exposition dumps. And I don't care because they're entertaining and they're well-acted. Matt Damon did a good job in it, in his part. Not my favorite film in the world, but all the respect, and it deserved to win awards, for sure. This ain't that. The Odyssey ain't that. It's not well-acted. It's not it's not well-directed. You heard me. Let's go, Nolan fans. It's not well directed. The pacing is shit. There are some good scenes. There are some good lined up scenes that look amazing, but I got to look at the whole thing, and it's not well directed. The choreography sucks. That's the directing. The acting is mid. It's just people reciting lines in vignettes. Mid. Music, terrible. But acting, choreography, directing, bad sound mixing. That's on the director. And Oppenheimer is light years better in that aspect. Diverse Greeks on a Viking ship. Gunnar, I'm glad you're the one who sent that, brother. Diverse Greeks on a Viking ship. That is such a simple but hard-hitting, impactful super chat. Well done, sir. And yes, it's a Viking ship. When somebody told me that, like, because I'm not going to know, right? Like, I just don't know. So somebody brought it up in a stream. I'm like, no, sure as shit, it's a fucking Viking ship. Being on Piers was fun. I was ready. I was ready. As a matter of fact, not that I expected appearance, but Will can attest to this. When the Odyssey shit started kicking off, I'm like, I'm surprised Piers hasn't sent us an email yet. Then we got one like a couple days later. And Piers, like, fair question. And like, he did warn me. He did apologize. He's like, I'm sorry, I got to give you this question. But I'm glad he did. So he gave me the question asking, like, what's more beneficial for your channel, essentially? Like a positive movie review or a negative movie review? Like, based on, I mean, the factor that matters, which would be like, okay, you're asking me what's most financially beneficial. I make the same. Each video makes the same. Doesn't really fucking matter. One of the weirdest ones was Superman. Superman was one of the weirdest ones because it was, for a 1 million view video, one of the it wasn't even close to ratio, but most disliked, most disagreed with. A lot of respectful disagreement in the comments, which is fine. Even the disrespectful, I don't care. But it was the weirdest one. But no, it doesn't make any difference. My one of my most lucrative videos is One Piece, the half-hour One Piece glaze I gave for season 1. Right. And then we can do A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and praise it for 6 weeks in a row. And that's fun and does well. Or we can shit on House of the Dragon. And like, it doesn't make a difference. But I told him, like, the most beneficial thing for the channel is to be honest. That's it. And wherever that opinion lands with anybody is, who fucking knows? It's going to land sometimes. It's not going to land others, you know? It's no secret now that I don't like the Odyssey. I have no idea how people are going to react to that. We'll see. We'll see. that has to remain the most beneficial thing. If you're going to be a content creator, that's all you need to do. And you know what? Your opinion's going to rub people wrong sometimes. That's just something you got to live with. But as long as when the chat takes you to task, and I as a creator am not obnoxious about it, it's fine. People can disagree. I think content creators get a little trapped about getting their fifis hurt in the chat, and then get obnoxious. Well, you're getting obnoxious to the customer, right? And one thing I think I was pretty decent at the comic shop was customer service, right? People need to be heard. They're not always going to agree with you, and maybe I'm sure I've said something completely retarded, and I will say something completely retarded again, and you guys will take me to task and whatever. But the thing is, you just be honest. That's all. It's super easy, because then you don't have to remember, because I lived a life of lies, dishonesty, deceit, and it was fucking miserable. As in my drug addiction, it was fucking miserable. It was terrible. Trying to keep track of the lies, and then feeling bad about the lies, and feeling bad made me want to use more. It's like a fucking horrible doom loop of life. So it's just way easier to be honest. When I say let's talk about Blue Beetle, I really want to talk about it. People are going to get mad how I said that. I don't care. When I say, hey, I'm just be honest, and people don't believe me, I don't care, because I'm being honest. So whatever. Might not like my opinion, but it's mine. Best way to go as a content creator. This film will make money and could surpass 1.5 billion. Jeremy agrees with you, and Jeremy might be right. And when Jeremy's right, I'm sure he'll be extremely humble about it. But he might be. But hey, your movie featuring a trans Greek soldier made $1.5 billion at the box office. Woo! Awesome. Elliot Page, Best Supporting Actor. I'm rooting like hell for that. You don't know. That's what I want for Christmas, Santa Claus. I want Elliot Page to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Burn it all down. Let's go. I can't express to you how disappointed I was when Amelia Perez, when what's his face wasn't good. Like, it became clear he wasn't going to win Best Actress. I was so bummed. I was so ready for that to happen. I'm like, oh, here we go. Hollywood's about to go just full insane. The movie is not good. Do I think that the deliberately subversive casting is making people want it to flop? Yes. Do I think that people have their Nolan colored glasses on and they are looking past a lot of the stuff they would normally call out with anybody else? Yes. Do I think some right-wing people are going to like this movie because they think they're going with the majority and going against what they would be perceived to be calling out because of the culture war? Like, I'll give a specific name, Ben Shapiro. Yes, 100%. I think most content creators, not all, and certainly I trust the people I stream with, so we'll leave that out. But certainly people go, yep. Do I think people are giving it a 10 out of 10 because they want to own the chuds? Yes. Do I think some people are overpraising it because Supergirl failed and they think the chuds won, so they need to own the chuds to give them a loss because it's really important for them to give people like Will, the critical director, who might like the movie as far as I know, or me or Az or whatever, a loss? Yes. Really weird way to look at the world. I do not walk into a movie going, I'm going to like this because the person I don't like doesn't like it. Or I hope this movie wins to make the person I don't like look bad. That is the weakest way to go through life, son. That is a mindset of failure. Envy is the fuel of failure. There are movies that John Campea and I like. We both like the same. There are movies that Angry Joe likes that I like. I don't care. I don't give a shit. When we were enjoying the failure of Supergirl, I was enjoying it because of James Gunn and because of DC Studios and Warner Brothers out there gassing up and just bullshitting everybody through the media. That's why I was enjoying the failure, because their fucking charade was fucking over. Their lies were exposed. That's why. It wasn't because somebody liked Superman. You know, Tom fucking loves Superman as much as Jeremy loves Christopher Nolan. I still love Tom. Doesn't matter. So yeah, there are people. I want to distinct, not the fine, beautiful, handsome, smart people in this chat. I'm talking about content creators. So, I mean, we can use people, including me, people in with the air quotes. But yes, all things can be true. And there's, just a bunch of normal people out there who are rolling in there, either liking it or not liking it. That's most, by the way, who don't give a shit. So we were not responsible for the failure of Supergirl. We weren't. Supergirl failed. And I've said this over and over again. If I had the power to make a film fail, I would be doing everything I can to keep Hunt for Gollum to ever hit the screen. Everything I can if I had that kind of power. That's what I'd be going after. But I don't have it. Will doesn't have it. Jeremy doesn't have it. None of us ever had it. You guys have it. So, yeah, we weren't responsible for Supergirl's failure or the Acolyte's failure. Not enough people watched it. If I had power, how in the fuck did Wakanda Forever make almost $800 million? And that movie is dog shit. I watched the Odyssey over Wakanda Forever. I'd watch the Odyssey over the Marvels. I'd watch the Odyssey over most Marvel films. And I mean vast majority, except for maybe No Way Home. Yeah, we don't. We're just people with opinions. But the content creators get very upset. And I guess we're doing something right if we're in their head. They're not in mine. I am going to rewatch Ulysses. I completely forgot that movie existed, and somebody posted it on X. I'm like, that looks fun. I want to have a little fun after watching the Odyssey.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.